And welcome everybody to the Broken Wing Le Mans Series Season 1 Preseason Round 0 at Watkins, Glen. Thank you for joining us. I'm also joined by Garreth Hamm, who's co-commentating with me during this race.
Hello, hello. Excited to be here.
Cars, then a Taco Bell ad. See, there you go. We started this right at the right time. There's an ad that's playing. Um, that's great. uh, so I guess we're just gonna have to wait. Because during the ads it picks up right after they get done. But anyway, I guess we'll get going. I don't know how long a Taco Bell ad goes for, but over to our first drivers here of Uno Dos Tres Racing in the LMP2 class, Pro class. Justin Scott is practicing. Trey Missack has already gotten in the car, and as well as Rodrigo Theory has also gotten in the car. So all three drivers of this team already in there, getting some time on the board. They're also a Pro-Am slash class, so they have one Am driver with them. I don't know how that's going to bode. Garreth, what do you think in terms of most of these teams in the LMP2 Pro are Pro slash Am?
Yeah, it should be a very exciting race. I mean, we have a lot of big, heavy fighters in the ring today, so it should be a very close race. It'll be interesting. There's a few of these guys I know that have done a bunch of endurance racing before on iRacing, doing officials and stuff, but some of these guys are new at it. So I know Dylan was practicing earlier this week, and that was his first time getting the LMP2, so should be fun.
Absolutely. Speaking of Dylan, he's part of the Draft Punk Silver team, Dylan Maroney and Eric Koonsman. And interestingly enough, they are P6, and they are in the LMP2 Gentleman's Cup, which is just the AM class drivers. And there's only going to be 6 LMP2 class drivers or teams in the LMP2 Gentleman's Cup. But they're 6th overall in practice right now, so that kind of bodes well for them. As you can see, that blue decal for the AM class classification in the LMP2 car.
Yeah, that's an awesome start for those guys, and already showing their weight and that they have a lot to prove, and they're going after it and staying hungry.
Not only that, we have only 5 teams that have set a time in the 132s. After that, you have about 6 or 7 drivers in the 133s, and then a few drivers in the 134s, and then again, only a couple in the 135s in the LMP2 class. Really, I mean, being separated by only a couple seconds there throughout the entire grid is going to be a really close matchup for those drivers. And I know you were saying something, a good stat, the difference between the LMP2s and the GT3s at Watkins Glen is?
Yeah, so basically there is a 12-second time difference, at least with what we're seeing with these racers tonight, between the LMP2s and the GT3s. And we're seeing the LMP2s lap times ranging from a minute 32 to a minute 35, and then the GT3s a minute 44 to a minute 47. So it'll be very interesting to see how this goes, and especially with those faster cars bombing around, and how everyone's going to play along with each other.
Yeah, I'd agree. We got a Cone Killer Racing. It's a Pro slash Am team of Ryan Otis and Samuel Otis and Matthew Morhart. So I wonder if these two are brothers. I know the Daniels aren't brothers, but you know, they could be throwing us off. They say no relation, but we don't really have that confirmed. But he's fastest overall with the 140. Their best time was a 143.9, which technically that's only a 10-11 second gap there to the LMP2s.
That should be very interesting. And to kind of going back to the third driver, we have 9 teams that are out racing right now that have a third driver. The rest of the teams are only doing 2 drivers.
The 2 drivers seems a bit more manageable, especially given that there's going to be a requirement amount for each driver to race, total race distance. And, with 34 teams registered in the preseason, we know that there's a few teams that are opting to not be here for other reasons, not because they don't want to. It's going to show us that we have 45 teams in total that have been registered for this season. So during the Broken Ring Le Mans series, so I see it's going to be a lot more competitive on that first round.
And it'll be interesting too, because I think I remember hearing some of the guys talk earlier, and part of the reason for the 3 drivers, at least for some of the teams, was just because some people knew that they weren't going to be able to make it, so that was just kind of helping fill in. So it'll be interesting to see long term throughout once the league and starts really going off, of how that plays out in the long term.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's, from what we know of GT3, it packs in at max capacity the last couple seasons, but as the season progresses, participation falls off a little bit. But with this, I don't foresee that. You got a lot of drivers that want to do this. I mean, they've made up their teams. They might lose their third driver, but at least they'll still have 2. But going over to from Cone Killer Racing in P1 in the GT3 class, and they are part of the Pro class. In their same in the GT3 Gentleman's Cup, we have Lars, Two House, I think. In the V and Ray, get out of the way. Down into 12th position in the GT3 series. I'm not even sure if there's other drivers that have in the AM class that have gotten closer to challenge, but going back over to like the Draft Punk Silver team, they are part of the AM class in the LMP2s. They're only 6 positions back from P1 in the Pro Series. So there's a bunch of pro drivers that are having to compete against an AM class LMP2 Gentleman's Cup, which is really interesting to see there for Dylan Maroney, who's already setting a good pace. But kind of want to see the same thing out of the GT3 class. Is there any AM class drivers that are going to really push any of the pro class drivers out there on track?
That'll be really interesting to see, and we have a lot of new drivers just for this, which is awesome excitement to see. And so there's a lot of people that's kind of their first time racing with us, which we're excited that they're here to join us. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this how the leaderboard shakes out.
And we'll definitely get better notice on round 1 with the liveries that are going to be set in stone, and we'll definitely get to see who's the AM class, who's the pro class. It looks like most people already settled that out already. A couple of these GT3s have not, so I'm not quite sure if they're pro or AM, but the orange ones definitely show. But to be fair, I've clicked through all the drivers from P1 to P12 right now in the GT3s. In now we have CW Pair in the V-Ray, get out of the way, and they are the first AM class GT3 to be out there. They're behind 11 pros, so we'll definitely see in the backfield there 12 onward a bunch of the AM class drivers, which to be expected with the GT3s. Everyone's already really very familiar with those. And only 499 Racing, number 497 and number 498, 2 separate teams in the GT3 Pro category of Connor Till, Kevin Millard, Christopher Horton, and Todd Swanson. They're sporting 2 teams out there, but there's a couple other teams that are doing that as well. We got Inca Salsa Racing and Inca Salsa Margarita.
People have got really creative with their league names or their team names. This is quite entertaining just looking through these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. There's Matt Strong of the Inca Salsa Margarita, Ryan Moore, Moyer and Ricardo Espino. And then the Inca Salsa Racing is Kyle Bastos and Craig Brick. I haven't seen Craig Brick in some time, but he's been a part of the series for a while.
It's awesome to see those guys return for something new, so hopefully they stick around and enjoy the fun.
Yeah, I mean, and we can't go talking about other teams without mentioning the Bush's Baked Bean-Durance Racing team of Jacob Simmons and Chris Lambeth.
Those guys always like to put on a show with their livery, that's for sure.
Yeah, and with 6 minutes 50 seconds to go on the clock in practice, before we start qualifying, Jacob Simmons put his car into P4. Peter Flanner, however, get a better look at him. He's out in the pit lane, but just set the fastest time with the 132.091, almost getting into the 131s, which is extremely impressive. That puts 6 teams now in the 132s, which is going to be really racy for those top 6.
Yeah, it's amazing how close some of these guys are, and it's going to be a tight grid, it feels like.
I'd say, and there is a Pax Oceani team out there. John Javecki, Eric Neville, and JD Daniel. And right now they're in 6th position with a 132. Now in 7th, as we have the great underdog racing of Trevor Bonesteel and Alex Warkus putting their car into P5. What's really cool to see, though, is that there are a lot of drivers out there on track racing. There's very few individuals that are actually in the pit lane. Even with 5 minutes 20-something seconds to go, it looks like every team has gotten one of their or a bunch of their drivers in, if not all 3. It looked like one team had all 3 of their drivers in, and that was the Uno Dos Tres Racing of Trey Mistak, Justin Scott, and Rodrigo Theory.
Yeah, it's great. They want to get their drive time in, and especially when you have multiple drivers, it's a little bit challenging where you got to split that times up and make sure that everyone can get a little bit of practice time in, especially with a grid like this.
Absolutely. I think one of the cool upsets here that we might see is in P7, we have Parks de la Cruz in the GT3 Pro. And he is joined by Tyler Kokayko. A little bit of a blinker there. And then in the Pro Series, or in the LMP2 Series, there is a 212 team. Oh, got off a different one. The 212 Racing Pro is James Pierce and Dominic Ford. They're not here, but they have registered for this series, so maybe not going to be here on the... Imagine not having beans on your car, though. I can imagine it. Garreth, I think you can imagine it as well.
Yeah, I can totally imagine that. I have stared at the face of Venus way too many times.
There you have it, Joshua Abbott Salazar in Anchor Racing, who's in the LMP2 Gentleman's Cup. As noted by the sky blue decal on his livery. He's joined by Ethan Orr, and they are an AM class team. And he's in P11, ahead of some of the LMP2 pros. JD Daniel is more handsome than Chris Daniel. Well, you heard it. You heard it here first from John Javecki.
Wow.
Chris has softer hands. I don't want to know how you know that. There's
Yeah,
30 minutes to go.
Alone.
For everyone joined, we have 17 LMP2 Pro teams out there with five teams that have 3 drivers. The rest have 2. Then you have 6 teams in the LMP2 Gentlemen's Cup, was the AM class of that group, with only 1 team having 3 drivers. The rest have 2. The GT3 Pro Series or class has 16 teams with 2 teams with 3 drivers. The rest have 2 drivers. And then we have 6 drivers in the GT3 6 teams in the GT3 Gentlemen's Cup, with only 1 team that has 3 drivers. The rest have 2. So it's kind of a good mix. The team pros on both classes have 16, 17, and then the AM class of both classifications has 6 each, which, ooh, that is
taking a little bit of a spin there.
Yeah. Sometimes you catch gold or a wall.
Yeah. Hopefully not a wall.
Garreth has soft hands and a soft bald head. Oh my god.
Chris needs to go back to focusing on racing. That's what he needs to do.
Okay. I think what's going to happen is some of these drivers that are just watching their teammates race are going to come in and get some jabs in. Interestingly enough, Peter Flanner, who held the fastest time on the board, has just been outbeaten by Hyperion Racing 8 or 8. Is it Hyperion Racing V111? But it's Hyperion Racing 8 of Sam Shreves. I've never seen that guy's name before, so he must be new. And Shane Larson, also the other driver with him, both pros.
Yeah, it's tough competition out there already. It's crazy.
Not only that, we have another one, Hyperion Racing 6, Matt Brewer, and Greg Conaway and Eddie Layton. Oh, Eddie Layton, who's the admin running this league. So I guess Eddie Layton has recruited some outside help to help him get a good spot here. And look at that. As the practice ends, Peter Flander puts it into the 131s, the only driver to do so, and that is a 0.244 gap to P2. Let's see if he can do that in qualifying.
And there's going to be a little bit of confusion. There is 5 Hyperion teams out there.
So really? Oh yeah, there's the Hyperion. Oh yeah, in the wow. So there's Hyperion 10 of Floyd Kerr, Hyperion 9 of Willie Brennan. Is there so does it go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10?
Looks like it.
That is special. And the first driver out on track is going to be Andrew Korstecki of Pursuito Punch Racing. Indica. There's 2 Pursuito Punch Racing teams. This is the GT3 team. And there's the LMP2 Pro team, Pursuito Punch Racing Sativa. Landon Lloyd and Craig Carroll helm that team. So a couple of grass enthusiasts, as they call themselves.
That's one way of putting it, but I like it.
Austin McGill. It's time to go. Austin J. McGill. Mixed nationality in the GT3 Pro class. I'm going to probably confuse that a couple times. I keep saying series, class.
I know.
This isn't just GT3 Sprint Championship anymore. This is a multi-class. Lemon time. Are you sure you're not? No, I'm not going to say it. And first driver to go out, which is going to be kind of interesting. Garrett, he is the first driver Oh, wait. This might be part of the briefing, right? The GT3s are going to have 10 minutes to go. They're going to park it, and then the LMP2s are going to have 10 minutes. I believe that was part of the briefing. I wasn't particularly paying attention. Because it is only GT3s out there on track. Which makes more sense now. Time to get beamed, nerds. Back on board with Andrew Gorsecki, who's in Sector 2 here at Watkins Glen during qualifying. And it looks like Jeff Koffel of mixed nationality is going to be the driver in qualifying for mixed nationality, and Austin McGill, his teammate, watching on stream.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're absolutely correct, pal. The whichever teammates are not currently racing are going to be popping in here and joining in on the fun.
As he crosses the line, I'd agree with what you're. Yeah, it goes fastest for that 144. We know that people can do 143s, and there it goes. Andrew Gorsecki is P1 still. Hyperion Racing 7 of Luke Wallace into second. Charles Whedon of Little Lugnuts drop down to fourth as mixed nationality take P3. And Ryan Otis of Cone Killer Racing with a 144.257. 212 Racing of Parks de la Cruz drops back to the bottom there at P7 with Connor Till in P5 with 499 Racing. SRTE Orange of Gio Gonzalez. He's back in the pits after he has done his qualifying lap. Maybe to reset and go again. And he's doing it. Yeah, I've seen this a couple more times. Valhalla Motorsports of Matt Benson into P10. And Wake 114, thank you for the follow. The last Swagger Eye, thank you for the follow. And Beef Squatch 86, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that, guys. That said, the gap to P1 is almost 4/10 here. Garrett, do you think Andrew Gorsecki is going to be able to resolve it on this lap? Or is he going to have to go again?
I'm hoping he can put the pedal down and really go after it, and we will see.
Oh.
He's reset.
He's resetting, so he's going to go for one flyer. I guess he might not have gotten that down across the line. Maybe he knew he wasn't going to maximize it there, so... Oh, curious. We had one driver that in the GT or the LMP2 class actually out there. So we have a couple drivers. Blake Patterson, who's just crossed the line, he has now set a time and goes into P11. We got Thomas Smith, 38 of V-Ray, get out of the way. He's out on a flyer. He has not set a time on the board. Hyperion Racing 9. It's a couple of off tracks, so they're back out there, as well as Floyd Kerr, Hyperion Racing 10. Also not set a time on the board. He's got 3 minutes, and he's got enough time to do 2 laps there, so hopefully he can come to grips with a lap. Gareth, I don't know how you do qualifying, but I specifically try to go for a lap. One that is within the white lines and carved in great, and you could always benefit by trying to get getting a time on the board and then going from there. What are your thoughts? You just go for the hot lap and just get it in, even if it could cost you everything, including track position?
I'm right there with you on just getting a time on the board. I try not to push it too hard. Just trying to get out there, see what's consistent. I want to be realistic of where I'm sitting at with the other drivers, so there isn't possible issues or anything like that. But yeah, some of these guys I know, like Peter Flander, that guy just guns it when he's doing his qualifying. He wants to be top of the pack.
Yeah, that's probably why we're seeing these one-shot shootouts where they're going for one lap, enough fuel for one lap, and then getting it done. Just a brief one on this one. Stream host, Heinz or Bush's Baked Beans? It's Bush's Baked Beans. I'm there till the end on that one. Heinz, take a hike. Get some commentary. Okay, so William Creaney of New Pack Racing has set a time on the board, and we're going to look over to Floyd Kerr, who's got 2 minutes left to go, and it looks like he has actually set a time on the board, and it is P6 for him. He's going to go again. We have one team driver left, and yikes!
Ooh!
That is Zachary Hinterhoff of Timberline Speedworks. Unfortunate for that driver. He's going to be probably right there. I mean, he may have enough time. Depending on how quick he can really shape up this outlap, I mean, he's going to have to cut some spots to get across the line in time. We better get some commentary bias for that sub. Oh yeah, thank you, Jacob Simmons, for the tier 1 subscription.
We were already on your side with that vote.
And I said in practice, but made mention of it. The 212 drive racing, they have a pro class in both classifications, and it is just this driver because he is skipping about for me, but no one else is. As we have a driver of Luke A. Wallace in Hyperion Racing 7 who goes across to take P3. Parks de la Cruz, though, in P2 was kind of further back in the pack initially, but like I said, maybe it was just a banker lap for him. But he's pushed and gotten out a really good lap there, and sitting in P2 at the moment. We'll see if he can hold on to this. Cone Killer Racing of Ryan Otis hasn't been challenged just yet with his best of a 144.1. The closest driver to him is Jeff Koffold, who just set his lap, and he's half a second back in mixed nationality. The difference there is actually the same. I don't know if you see that, Garreth, but in P2 and 3, they both have a .504 difference.
Oh, yeah.
They have the exact same time.
And this is preseason, and with that, a lot of these guys are all learning with the rules that have been set by the league admins and of just how we're doing the qualifyings. So there's going to be a little bit of some learning curves for some people out there, and just a little rough around the edges, but everyone's learning, getting this going before we get to the real season start.
Exactly that, and we know this to be a fact. Oh, the other thing would be interesting is Floyd Kerr is the last driver who's got a bunch of LMP2s behind him. 14 seconds. They're not going to catch him, but he's the last driver that's going to cross the line or possibly have to park it, as Luke Wallace in Hyperion Racing 7 goes across the line to get into P3 for the GT3 class. And we'll see Ryan Otis goes fastest overall again with the new fastest lap. And Floyd Kerr is going to be the last driver to cross the line for this class. And he's going to park it, as you do. Matt Brewer of Hyperion Racing 6. Yeah, you're not wrong. Those 5 Hyperion Racing teams, it's like the new Pax Oceani.
Yeah. There's a lot of them, and it's going to be hard to keep track, that's for sure. And, I mean, we have quite a few teams that are all doing their own teams within that as well. it'll be interesting to see if they develop any own individual team practice and basically any tactics that they want to implement into this.
Yeah, we've seen it before, and I mean, remember that one infamous Daytona race where a guy backed up some people on purpose. Doesn't really bode well in terms of sportsmanship, but I don't think we're going to see too much. I think if anything, they're just going to treat each other with more kid-friendly gloves when they're coming up to each other, because there is quite a few of those drivers. How many are actually in the LMP2 class? I think it's just 2 Hyperions. 6 and 8.
Yep, you're correct.
And so there's 3 in the GT3 series. So yeah, probably these 2 in the LMP2 Pro series, Pro standings are gonna be a lot more kid friendly. As Matt Brewer is the first driver to take us across the line with a fast lap, and of course he'll go P1 if he. Okay, yeah, he did. Peter Flanner already overtakes him for P1. Tyler Sage Anderson in P2 with the Dissidents team. Dylan Maroney in P4 with a 1:33.4, which is an extremely fast time. Bush's big Endurance Racing of Jacob Simmons into P3. Arcadian Motorsports of William Paisley into P4. Inca Salsa Racing of Craig Brick into 8. Pax Oceani JD Dano into 4th. Overtaken by Great Underdog Racing of Trevor Bonesteel. Appalachian GT3 Punters of Tyler Tier into P6. East Coast Storm Racers of LMP2, Jeff Lubitch into 12th. Anchor Racing in 11. Submarine Motorsports of Peter Petrucci into P14. Hyperion Racing 8 is Shane Larson into 15. Anybody that I've missed so far? I think that's pretty much everybody. Oh, Uno Dos Tres. It's not even Uno Dos Tres. It's Uno Dos Tres. Like Trey S.
Yep.
Racing. I was saying Uno Dos Tres. Thank you, Dark Comment, for that sub. And they're into P3 at the moment. And they have unarguably their fastest driver setting qualifying for them. Do you know, Garreth, if the driver setting qualifying has to start the race, or is it anything goes on that one?
I'm not too sure. I was just going through kind of the briefing layout, and I don't see anything about that. But yeah, these guys have to pick and choose. I mean, there is some time that both team members could get out there for a qualifying lap, but it does cut into your qualifying time. So they have to be kind of picky and choosy of who they want to qualify, then who's going to start it off.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree, and it's based on another series. It's based on the Le Mans series, so if it's based on real life, I think the driver who sets the time has to be the first driver out. But in iRacing, I believe you can swap it through, and he's not improved. Oh, he has improved on that lap. He's gone to P2 over Tyler Sage Anderson with a 1:32.4. Other notable drivers that have crossed the line is a Narwhal Racing Team of Joshua Grosso and Noah Hoskinson. The Pro/Am team is in P9 at the moment. League owner and a league admin in the top 10. Now, where's Hyperion Racing 6? Oh, they're just behind. Matt Brewer, Greg Conaway, and Eddie Layton, the admin for the Le Mans series, into P10. So we have, 2 admins and a league owner both their teams are in the top 10. So that's got to feel good for them as Matt Brewer crosses the line to go to P8.
It'll be exciting to see if anyone can get knock Peter off P1 right now. Trades looks like he's hunting it down.
Yeah, 3 minutes 22 seconds to go. He's got basically it's 4/10. I mean, rounding that up, it's 4/10 to catch up Peter Flanner there. And Inca Salsa Racing Margarita of Ryan Moyer, in P17. Last driver that I don't think I called, but trying to get everyone's names out there, saying everyone, and
Ooh.
yikes. What happened there? Quick one. Ooh. Ah, unsettled, and then the driver behind him of a Tyler. That might be Tyler Tier. Nope, that was not Tyler Tier. Not sure who that was. That was Matt Brewer. I think him and Matt Brewer came together on that because he was unsettled on the exit, wiggled, and you can't even see any damage on this driver's car, so it may not have been the case. Team that I forgot that I didn't mention is 499 Racing of Colin Arnold, and that is Bradley Sexton and Nick Ebby. So this is another team with 3 drivers, and they're a pro/am team in the pro LMP2 pros. Now has every team gone out there? Oh, we have. I'll swap back over to a different team, but we have Zachary Hinterhoff, who we know in the GT3 series wasn't able to complete his lap. It's unfortunate he had that slip up on the just before the final corner, finding the barrier. But he'll start last within his classification, which is going to be P34 or 35. The 213 Racing Pro of Dominic Ford has not gone out. He is registered for this race, but neither him or his teammate are. His teammate is James Pierce. And that's unfortunate for them, because if they don't qualify, I think they're just going to start completely at the back and have to work their way through a bunch of GT3s.
I think they'll start in the back of their class.
Okay, that would be
so
better.
So they're not completely fighting their way through all the GT3s.
That would definitely be better if that was the case, because what a bit of chaos for preseason round 0 for one of those drivers to start all the way behind the GT3s and then find his way through, and chaos ensues because patience might not be everyone's strong suit. And I'm not saying him, but just in general, that's what multi-class tends to be, is when patience isn't followed, chaos ensues.
Yeah, exactly.
The 214. 214. Do you see a 214? Oh, Submarine Motorsports of Peter Petrucci. 4 Loco 1 is sick too. Is this a 4 Loco?
Maybe it's just off the color scheme.
Off the color scheme, yeah, I guess. I mean, let's see any 4 Loco rep there. And Peter Flanner of Draft Punk Gold really keeping it above the rest is Colin Arnold of 499 Racing. Was P2, now into P3. Shane Larson in Hyperion Racing 8 goes to P2, and still 3/10 off Peter Flanner. Peter Flanner has some is a teammate of Elliot A. Burton, and we know these two drivers are quick, alien level quick, and that's going to be an interesting start for them. They're not running the livery, it seems. Tyler Sage Anderson gets into P6 right before the end. And with that, do a quick... Okay, and we're back. Going over to the overall, the grid, it will be set shortly. We have the LMP2 class, and you can see P1 through 15, which is every driver there on the vertical. The ones we can't see is Zach Shelley, and Peter in P16, Peter Petrucci in P17, and Ryan Moyer in P18. As far as Ryan Otis in P1, Parcelo Cruz in P2, Luke Wallace in P3, Jeff Koffold in P4, Andrew Corsick in 5, Floyd Kerr in 6, Willie Brennan in 7, Connor Till in 8, Christopher Horton in 9, Charles Reed in 10, Gio Gonzalez in 11, Matt Benson 12, Thomas Smith in 13th, Blake Patterson 14th, William Creaney in 15th, Zachary Hintonhoff in 16th, and Dominic Ford is in P19. And no, he's going to sit possibly P19. Oh, you're right. He's going to be he's going to be in front of the LMPs. Like you said, Garreth, I was just kind of confused by that one because it doesn't.
On the board, it gets a little confusing because it shows at the very bottom.
Yeah. But he is not. He's still in the pits, so is Zachary Hinterhoff. I hope they pop out. We still have several drivers that have not gone, that have not gridded just yet.
Yeah, and they're just going through and just getting some basically pre-racing instructions and just getting this thing all spooled up and ready to go. Looks like we almost have everyone gridded.
And thankfully, it's not a full outlap. It's just going to be a couple of corners, and then we'll get going. The last swagger eye. Hoping my boy Petrucci can run well tonight. I had to go on a work trip, so I missed out on tonight. Is Peter by himself? He's one of the last drivers in or Peter Petrucci in Submarine Motorsports. Yeah, it's in the LMP2 class. He's in P17, yeah. Well, good luck to him. I know there was going to be a few of those races where they said they were going to allow people to drive solo, but ultimately you're going to need to have 2 for the season. That's going to be a long race for himself.
Yeah, it will be.
And welcome everybody to the preseason round 0 here at Watkins Glen for the Broken Ring Le Mans series. So we're about to go green. See what multi-class racing looks here at Broken Wing Racing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting with this section. We do have the other multi-class with the V's and Rays, which is always a lot of fun. I did a lot of that when that first came out, but very excited about this series, and away we go.
Looks like Tyler Sage Anderson already up 1 position at the start. And that 499 of Colin Arnold down 1 position over what looks to be Jacob Simmons of Butch Baked Beans. And these drivers have already gotten well underway. And look at that around the outside line. Is that... Oof.
Ooh.
We already have a slight incident, but it looks like everyone's back on track. And that was Jacob Simmons, who was at least involved slightly, and that was Hyperion Racing. Matt Brewer also involved. But driver that got swallowed up, down 4 positions, Trey Mistack. He must really have found the outside line. That's not a great start for him. As well as Shane Larson, the driver who was most involved in that, down in 10 positions.
We'll see if he's able to already making moves and trying to reclaim those spots that he missed out on.
Yep, getting one down. And Jacob Simmons down 2. Looks like he's doing all right. He's already up. He's ahead of JD Daniel and the Pax Oceani, who's up 3 positions. And Tyler Tier of Appalachian GT3 Punters lost a position to Joshua Grasso there. And Matt Brewer already, quite possibly, it was the other driver of Shane Larson. So the Hyperion Racing drivers running the same livery. That's what confused me most, Garrett. But look at that. He's already trying to make a move. Ooh!
Oh!
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 And there is your first casualty right there in the backfield as he gets going. Oh, and his car is broken.
Yeah, his car does not look good at all.
That is unfortunate, as we have the GT3 drivers now out there, and we're going to take a little focus on them for a little bit, as Ryan Otis has not lost a position off the start of this race. Luke Wallace up one position in Hyperion Racing 7. And why I'm looking at these ones, he must have parked it. And if he hasn't parked it, then that is going to be quite something. Further back, we have Jeff Caulfield in mixed nationality, down 2 positions. He's got Gio Gonzalez of SRTE Orange right behind him, up 2. And back over to Inca Salsa Racing, Craig Brick in passed by Dylan Maroney in the Draft Punk Silver. And we already have drivers in the pit lane. Now, I am not sure. Beyond some few exceptions here, Garrett, I guess some of these drivers might have had some contact that we were not aware of.
Yeah, because there's one of them I didn't recognize that he was in the pits.
Hyperion Racing 8, 9, both had what could be determined as crashes. And looking further back in this field, all these drivers, while close, separated by 2/10, 3/10, and they really got some distance between each car right now. The closest battle being this driver of Connor Till in the 499 on Hyperion Racing 10 of Turner Schroll, which we didn't see him up there previously. So in practice, I should say.
Yeah, he kind of came out of nowhere and just shot up there.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree. Yeah, just odd. We didn't get to see him in practice, but he's doing pretty well in the race. So we have the 499 Racing in the middle here of Colin Arnold and William Paisley, who looks to maybe be a little bit like all over the place a little bit. I'm not sure if you saw that, but he was kind of wiggling around, trying to see if he could dive into the inside line before they got to the boot section.
Peter Flanner's just being a rocket ship out on his own right now.
I'd agree. Let's look over Peter Flanner in P1. He's got a 3.5 second capped P2, which is quite staggering already at the start of this race, with only being on lap 4. Trevor Bonesteel of Great Underdog Racing, he is right on the heels of Bush's Baked Bean Durance Racing.
Yeah, it's great to see that a lot of these guys, I mean, almost the whole track is, I mean, they're all in pretty close groups. With the LMP2s, besides Peter Flanner being out on his own, I mean, you have 2 big groups next to each other, and then one guy that's kind of lagging behind, and then same with GT3s. I mean, it is almost one solid group, just with a few outliers, but it should be some solid racing for everyone.
I'd agree. It looks really close, as we have Dylan Maroney and it was Inca Salsa Racing, and he's quite all over the place, pulling that back. He just missed the inside turn on that. Probably not wanting to go too wide there. It looked unfortunate for him, but Dylan Maroney capitalized, and he's up position on with that move. And Peter Petrucci also up a position, up to 3 positions, having got past Craig Burke there on that the bus stop section. Back over to the GT3 class, we have Gio Gonzalez, who's still been really close to this Hyperion Racing 10 driver, Turner Stroll. And even back there, we can see Jeff Koffold and Christopher Horton battling out for position. And Christopher Horton was the winner in that exchange. Jeff now down 4 positions from the start of this race. Now there's a lot of...
How close... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say there's a lot of new faces here. Is there anyone that's catching your eye right now, Garrett?
Connor Till obviously is... I don't really recognize that name, so and for him to just kind of go out there hard like that, that's awesome to see. I mean, we have a bunch calling it Arnold as well. I mean, he's P3 right now. Yeah, we have just so many new faces around here, and they're all putting up a fight, which is awesome to see. And it seems like everyone's keeping this, everyone's doing their job, and just being nice for the most part, and just kind of racing hard, which is awesome to see, and especially these close groups. I mean, it is just gives everyone a great experience.
I'd agree. I mean, that move almost looked on there, too, for Gio Gonzalez. He looked like he was going for it, too. But not there yet. Popping back over, we got Uno Dos Tres Racing. Hasn't yet recovered spots. He's got Pax Oceania ahead of him, who was behind at one point. Maybe he can make something happen here. What does commentary team think about safety cars at Watkins, especially in Xfinity? I mean, safety cars for X amount of laps, I think is a pretty... I don't mind it. I think it's actually really nice when they do that. Whoa. So you have 2 drivers in the AM Class LMP2s going side by side in the bus stop. Zach Shelley getting by, too. And that was actually Zachary Hinterhoff. Oh, no, Dylan Maroney ahead. I'm kind of confused. Is that... That is a very weird Draft Punk livery, I'll say that, Gareth. And we have a couple lap drivers already out there on lap 7. And this is going to be a long one. But, you know, it is an endurance race, so anything can happen. Whoa! They're going to split those GT3s. Gosh, that's got to be something else.
Yeah, that move worked out for him, but man, who's going right between them? That's an interesting move.
Yeah, I mean, we're already seeing drivers being caught up with, and look at that, we have a few of them getting by cleanly, but look at the driver out there. I mean, Charles Whedon is probably a little scared. Look at them going all around him.
Yeah, that's got to be nerve-wracking, just seeing those LMP2s just come upon on you like that, especially a pack of them.
Yeah, Gareth, what are your thoughts on terms of safety cars? I feel like the safety car here at the Glen, or even a couple other tracks, it really helps out, get people back in the fight, especially when they're down as far as a few of those drivers. It looks like a few of them have parked it, which is unfortunate, or they're still going to be sitting in repairs for a while. Look at this driver, this Hyperion driver there. Who is that? Matt Brewer. He is slightly aggressive, left and right, trying to find his way through the pack. That has got to be scary.
Yeah, he's just finding his way, just trying to find the open spots and just trying to take them. He's not really giving it a second thought. He's just gunning.
And down into turn 1, Tyler Sage Anderson on the outside here gets passed by Colin Arnold in 499 Racing, who you shouted out was really sporting up there. But they're going side by side in the next couple into the S's, and they're going to find this fight up into the straight, up into the bus stop. This is for one of the podium steps. They're both on the podium at the moment, but look at that crossover. He cuts in and gets it, stays ahead.
Man.
Ooh!
Ooh.
And wow!
Immediately just loses it with the GT3 being right there at the turn.
That's multi-class racing for you. I mean, what a... Not even a move. I'm not sure if Colin was even thinking about that, but it paid off for him. Tyler could go nowhere, and he just, in a good squeeze, kept him right behind that GT3 and passed it around the outside line. What a fantastic move.
Yeah, that was incredible. Looks like we might have another battle with Tyler Cheer coming up.
In the background, that's Parks de la Cruz, who's... Dylan Maroney getting by Zach Shelley. And they've been kind of battling it out this entire time. Now, Trey Mistack. What are his chances here on JD Daniel? JD Daniel's fast. Pax Oceani's always fast, but I kind of find it slightly alarming that Trey hasn't been able to make up pace here. He's doing about the same as the drivers ahead of him. Even more so, there's drivers that are in the 134s on race pace right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting with Trey and being in the position that he's in. I would have expected him to be... Oh, and there we go. He's shooting up a little bit.
It's one up.
One up. There we go. Just had to talk about him a little bit. But yeah, Trey's an extremely fast GT3 driver. In fact, one of the fastest ones that we have. So maybe he just doesn't quite have the same practice that he does with the LMP2s as he does with the GT3s. And that's maybe just showing a little bit more prominent now.
I'd agree. I agree completely. We have Ethan Orr of Anchor Racing in P18. He's got a couple of drivers, 2 drivers ahead of him in the GT3 class that he's going to have to pass at some point. We have SRT-E Orange of Gio Gonzalez and Turner Schroll. Still, out of all of the drivers in this, they have been kind of equal on pace lap after lap. And with the GT3 class, as we've seen so far, Garreth, they're all just kind of spread out.
Yeah, it's starting to become quite a bit more spread out now, and especially with these LMP2 drivers just darting in and out. I'm sure people are just kind of just trying to figure out their spot and what they can do. Oop, and there we go. Sorry about that spot.
Man,
turn that tight.
That was so close. I mean, that is a Tyler Kokai. Sorry, Zed. I'm not even saying his name right there. Tyler Kokeiko of the 212 team. Parks de la Cruz put him in qualifying, but it looks like Tyler's the one that's actually out there on track right now. And good on him. Maybe they're saving the second stint for the driver who's going to put in, banger lap after banger lap. He's in P3 at the moment, and he's got quite a few seconds to the driver's head. I would say like 9 seconds to his class, to the P1.
Yeah.
And Blake Patterson, another driver who's finding himself close to a a GT3 ahead of him. Not of a lot of these drivers. It was very close at the first couple laps, but not a whole lot of position changes, except with the notable exception that some people did crash out, and which gave them all a couple of spots. And now we have Ryan Moyer. I think it's also racing in the middle of these two, their battle here. And you know what? We did talk about it, but Trey Mistack now with the fastest lap on track with a 1:33.4.
Man.
Maybe Garreth there's that whole commentary of he heard us talking, and so now he has to go and show everyone
Right.
up.
Yeah, that very well could be, and I mean maybe he just had some with the positions. I wasn't paying attention, but maybe when getting through the GT3 herd, he was just got caught in a few bad situations, which makes it very difficult and can greatly drop your lap times. So there could have been so many factors of what was going on.
I'd agree. And through the S's, these two drivers still finding themselves neck and neck. The SRTE Orange team of Gio Gonzalez versus Hyperion Racing 10, and also Hyperion Racing 8 passing by them in the LMP2 class. No change between these two, just following along almost.
Yeah.
And there was a Beef Squatch Go 46 car. I'm not sure who the 46 car is. That's going to be Andrew Korostecki, who's sitting in P10 in the GT3 class.
Yeah, not a whole lot of moves being played. Just kind of seems like he's just happy and content right now, just sitting right behind him and just kind of riding it out right now.
It's what it looks like. Peter Petrucci, who's sitting solo right now as his teammate, is not able to join him, and looks like in through turn one they go side by side, and it looks like he's actually going to get this on the up into the S's. He does get it down, and that's Zach Shelley of East Coast Storm Racers in the blue LMP2 behind him, and that's a position gained for the Submarine Motorsports team.
Man.
And he's fairly quick. The last lap he had was actually his fastest overall for himself, and that was 5/10 faster than Zach Shelley on the last lap. And back over to these two drivers. If there's ever a moment you think he's going to go for it, it's trying to get alongside in the bus stop. But like you said, Garrett, he's just happy, content to be behind him for the moment. They are 5 and 6 in class at this moment in time. It is also a long race.
It is, and I mean, there's no reason to just go after these crazy battles right off the beginning when it could just be super detrimental to you in the long run. They could just be wanting to hang back and just kind of play the long game and just don't cause any issues. But I mean, they're in great spots, so I don't see a problem with it.
I think you said it best there, as we have Hyperion Racing 6, one of the LMP2 class drivers, up 4 positions. He's the one that I think benefited the most. I think the other Hyperion actually is... He's out there on track, but he pit on lap 2 for almost... Actually was rounding up a second there, is 9 minutes. It is a long race, so he's going to have to... Yeah, he was the one that was involved in that incident into the boot, so... Unfortunate for him, but... You could always pick up a lot of space, a lot of places back if you fight for it. It's an endurance race. It happens. You may not get back to, P5 or P6, but other drivers could crash out. They could have some incidents that drop them back as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's a long race, so anything can happen. We still we have an hour and a little over 37 minutes left, and we got a lot of time to go over and see what these guys can do. But you can really start seeing kind of some of their strategies starting to unfold of what some of these guys, some of them are being more aggressive, some of them are not, and just kind of seeing what they're doing.
Speaking about drivers who may or not be aggressive, what Trey is aggressive on is hanging out lap times. He has now set a new fastest lap and is really pushing this stint. He's got 2 teammates that are going to have to get into this car, and each one is going to have to do 1 stint. And based on how the endurance race is going to go, it's just going to be up to Trey to keep pushing as much as he can to help out his teammates. And that is going to be Justin Scott and Rodrigo Theory who are going to take it in after him. And anything goes. We don't know what the other drivers are like, who's saving who's fastest driver for the first stint, second stint. And since there's 3 drivers, they're only going to do 1 stint each. I mean, I think, personally, Garreth, I think that Trey's just going to go all out and maximize his potential and let the other drivers do what they can and maybe scrape up some points. I know Justin Scott can be extremely fast at times, so wondering where he could put it in, as well as Rodrigo Theory's been quick.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I mean, all those drivers, they can be absolute monsters, and it'll be just kind of interesting to see where Trey ends up at the end of his stint and what the next driver is going to do and take it from there. Ooh, and that's close. Jacobson just coming right up on William there.
Why isn't Trey in first place? I don't understand. It's baffling. Garreth had a good observation that he's maybe not used to the LMP2 class, but at the same time, he's the fastest driver on track, sporting out fastest lap after fastest lap, which I think has been 3 times now that I've seen his name pop up with that, which is insanity, especially since we're on lap 16. I know we're getting fuel lower in the count, but it's still going to be something. And look at that. Jacob Simmons goes on the inside, but now they're blocked by 2. Yikes.
Man, he was just able to get out of there. It's got to be inches that guy was just able to squeeze out of there.
Not only that, but every other driver's been caught up in that. That's 2 drivers, Matt Benson and Charles Whedon, that had to weave through those. And I don't know who's to say is on the outs on that. I know Trey Missak at least gained a little bit there. He's 0.6 away from Matt Brewer. He was a little bit further back prior to that. Oh, he scraped the wall on his best lap in quali, and that made it not count. Yeah, that's gonna be the one fundamental difference there. No change in the order yet from these 2 drivers.
Yeah, towards the front of the grid with the LMP2s, it just seems like we have a bunch of packs of 2s and 3s that are extremely close. And I mean, the whole pack is extremely close, but you're just seeing these small little groups that are there, and it's just amazing racing just to watch.
Oh yeah, from P5 to I'd say P9, they are all really close together. Look at that Hyperion driver who was almost on the rear end of Trevor Bonesteel of Great Underdog Racing in that blue and whitish livery. The Hyperion Racing teams in general, all teal. You can all see them, that bright teal. Is that teal? I'd say teal.
I would go
blue,
teal.
teal or bluish, like some type of blue. I don't know, but they're noticeable. The Hyperion Racing teams are very noticeable, sporting 5 full teams. Quite something. And that 6/10 gap is now 3/10. I think Trey Missak's trying to make something happen here.
That'll be interesting, especially with all these GT3s now.
Oh!
Whoa!
Oh, did he get by? And that is disastrous for the Hyperion driver and Great Underdog Racing and Trevor Bonesteel, and they have both gone out. And we gotta already skip away from that as we have P2 has caught Peter Flanner. There was a 3.5 second gap at the start of this race, and now it has come down. You said it early on about Colin Arnold, and he's really shown himself within this 499 Racing. What a change. He's brought that all the way down.
Yeah, it's amazing that he's caught up to Peter that quickly when Peter had just a monstrous gap at the beginning. And then, I mean, you just start throwing the multi-class with the GT3s in it, and who knows what's going to happen. But it seems like Peter's just getting caught up a little bit by a GT3 right now.
It could be GT3 traffic. That's maybe Peter's trying to play everything as safe as he possibly can, and other drivers are being a little bit more aggressive. We don't know. We haven't really even seen Peter, but he passed that driver pretty well in hand. He has half a second on this driver down on the straight, and Jacob Simmons of still right there hot on the heels of William Paisley, which now coming back at it, Trey Misek is in P6. Narrowly avoids that entire incident, by the way. Completely unscathed. And how is that not a safety car? I don't even know if the safety car is still out there after this many laps. But yeah, you're right. It is unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the safety car didn't get thrown, because it should have been thrown at 2 cars stopped on track, so maybe they weren't fully stopped.
Yeah, I mean, that, or it was just 2 cars. 2 cars collected. I think it has to be multiple cars, like over 4 or 5, and to really create that perfect scenario. I know it's code-based, and it is not on iRacing's scenario.
But it did look like those drivers that were involved in that accident, they were immediately just got off to the side if they could, and then just looks like they towed and just kind of did the respectful thing.
Yep. Yeah. So that's...
But it is very unfortunate, though.
Yeah, that's 4 teams that are out of this race already. Looks like, and one of them was the Naro Racing team, the admins. Unfortunate for them. And there you go. I said it before, but
He's moving.
Whoever said they're not fast, I mean, his teammate must have said that. I forget who I'm a Make It Rain is.
I believe that's Justin.
Oh, okay. Okay, here we go. Before the bus stop, down the straight, Colin takes the lead. Really aggressive there on the curbings as well. And now we have a new race leader with Peter Flanner back 8/10. It's a long race though. And we know Elliot Burton is going to get in the car at some point. Is maybe possibly Peter Flanner jump back in the car after that? I don't really know what the strategy for those two teammate drivers is going to be, because it's just X amount of laps or runtime for each driver minimum. After that, it's up to the drivers to decide the rest of that, if I'm not mistaken. And back onto the GT3s, who have, I would say, narrowly have scathed out most of these incidents. There's only 2 drivers in the GT3. Two teams in the GT3 series that have gone out of this race already. Was it with the contact from the LP2s? Don't know that, but it looks like they've been super respectful for the most part. But they really don't care about, shoving it through and getting by these drivers.
Oh.
Not saying they're being disrespectful or anything, but some of the moves have been really on the edge.
Yeah, they're racing hard.
Which is throwing quite of a wrench, because these guys were, 1/10 separated. Each one of these three drivers. Hyperion, Turner Schroll, Gio Gonzalez, in this orange, SRT orange, and mixed nationality of Jeff Koffold, all just kind of hanging in. No one's making any moves. It's extremely... there's a fine line in multi-class between confident and reckless, edging the competition. Oh my god. There's Chris Lambeth for you.
Always have to come up with some kind of fun banter.
Yeah, and Kara, are we from the U.S.? Yeah, both. Look at that. And there's another fastest lap. I said that was 3, and I saw a 4th. Now I think that's 5, that he's just, pushing on and getting these fastest laps. So we're all, mostly everyone's from the U.S. I think there's a few drivers that might be from outside the U.S. I know we have a British-Mexican. Well, he's British, just in Mexico. I just describe him that way. Of Fark Moley, who's also racing, and his Canadians too. I forget Canadians, and some British, definitely some British people. Oh, we have somebody from Australia as well, and somebody from somebody in Asia somewhere. I forget where. Trey decided to keep us live early in the race. He got a different car, sending it into the bus stop, and decided not to die. Canadian, was there an incident with 613? I can't figure out how to rewind Twitch. Do you know what the 613 is? Oh, yes. Great Underdog Racing. He is in the pit lane right now. Can't even see him. Yes. There was an incident with that driver. He, who was that? The Hyperion Racing 6, who's also in the pit lane. Both drivers came together. It was, if we're, Alan Warkus is in the car now, but his teammate was up against Hyperion Racing 6 driver. In the S's, they went and touched right, or left rear to right front. Hyperion Racing driver hit the Great Underdog driver, and they crashed out with, who was that? Trey Mistack, narrowly missing that, as well as a GT3 car that was in right behind them all. There's no need. It's a long race. We have plenty of time to talk about these sort of things.
Yeah, I was trying to scrub around and see if I can find it. But no such luck. So, but yeah, no, it was. I think you were pretty much spot on with your recap there.
Actually, here's the crash itself.
Oh, did you already find it?
This is, it isn't Alec Warkus in the car, but the Hyperion driver got onto the curbing there, and which unsettled his car, and he went into the other car. And, the rest is history, as they say. I'm not discerning fault. I'm just, what my observation was, is we have P2, P3 and 4 battling into the bus stop, and that is William Paisley who gets by Jacob Simmons before they even enter. So good on him. That's 5 positions gained for that driver. Now we have a bunch of people going into the pits lane. This would be an opportunity to switch drivers at this moment in time. So Pax Oceani is dropping down the leaderboard for that pit stop change at this moment in time. Trey Mistek into P5, now back where he started this race with Jacob Simmons, who's just ahead of him in the Bush's Bake Bean Durance team.
That's a great job by Trey in doing that. And I mean, I can't believe that Jacob and William they've been just battling just nonstop. They've been just on each other. And it just seems like Jacob is just having a hard time just trying to overtake.
I mean, he did get it done. What I was gonna say before we got back over and we saw him going through, William Paisley go through before the bus stop, he actually did get ahead of him. He was ahead of him, and I was gonna be like, oh, off track, we missed this happen, and all three drivers going into the pit lane, and now we're gonna switch drivers, get some fuel. Do you think they're gonna change tires this early on? Maybe not now, but probably on the last stint, you'd assume, right?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they do, but my guess is that they might just hold down, just keep the tires that they have, and exactly what you said, just hold out to the last stint, then swap over.
And Peter Flanner's back out in first, but he has not gone into the pit lane, but Colin Arnold has. He did a 1 minute and 4 second pit stop. Guess we'll see what happens with that. Justin F. Scott of Uno Dos Tres Racing is not out just yet. And there's Colin Arnold, who got passed. So he's going to be the driver to look at, as looks like he gets ahead of the Bush's Bake and Bean Durance.
And Chris Lambeth takes over the wheel for that team.
Not only that, the dissidence of Tyler Sage Anderson is right behind Colin Arnold for P1. They're P2 and 3 at the moment, but what is going to be the shakeup there? As we know, Peter Flanner is going into the pit lane now. So cast your bets. We got a 45-second gap right now to P1 and 2. And he's going to pull that in. Garreth, what are your thoughts? I mean, Colin Arnold had a good, strong lead over Peter Flanner. He went for the overcut. Is the overcut going to work for Peter?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does with his pit times, but it looks like we're averaging with the LMP2s about 1 minute and 4 seconds for the pit times. But, I mean, Colin is just moving, so we'll just kind of see how that plays out in the long term. But yeah, just see where Peter lands out when he gets back out on the field.
Now we have Colin Arnold in P2. He's going to be on that start straight finish right now. Where is Elliot Burton? Does he have speed? It doesn't look like the telemetry shows he has speed out there yet. But there he is. Is it enough? Is going to come out behind into P3. And Tyler Sage Anderson of the Dissidents is actually going to be out on the attack there, and he's going to be ahead. So it didn't work for him. And look at, they're all doing 104s. Chris Lambeth, now taking over of the Bush's Baked Bean Durance, did a 106. A little bit more extra fuel.
Very well could be.
The 93 didn't follow the yellow line in. All right, we got our first snitch in chat, and all incidences regarding the yellow line in are going to be reviewed if you report them. That's Jack Presley of Arcadian Motorsports. And we got Samuel Otis in P1. He's exiting the pit lane. And Kevin Millard in 499 Racing in P2, also still there in the pit lane. Little lug nuts of Charles Whedon out there. Oh, he's going to be switching over to Christopher Chitterling, who's just jumped into there. 212 Racing of Parks de la Cruz is back out there, and he passes by and is going to reap up some more awards there. He's in a P3. Hyperion Racing P7, Hyperion Racing 7 of Luke Wallace is now comfortably into P2 with Sammy Otis ahead. Now, oh, here we got Peter Flanner having to contend with some traffic. Now, Garreth, I don't know if you remember, Gio Gonzalez was battling out a Hyperion Racing driver. Wasn't he? He's ahead of Kevin Millard of 499 Racing before the bus stop there. I'm actually kind of confused.
With how many Hyperion teams we got out there, it's a little all over the board a little bit for just trying to keep everyone straight. But I think you are correct, but I'm not 100% sure. And we do have Elliot Burton that did swap over for the Draft Pump Gold team.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. I was saying Peter Flanner. And you know what? We're seeing I actually remember now. Gio Gonzalez goes back out onto the track. So who is his teammate in SRT eSport?
Evan McKay. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Orange.
Ash Ridge. Huh. So he's just going to go again, and maybe his teammate does the final stint. But you know what's more interesting is the 499 Racing is actually down a position. They did a 59.3. They were up a position, or up, yeah, they're up into P3. And Floyd Kerr is the Hyperion Racing 10, who was not the same driver, but the same team who the orange driver of Gio Gonzalez was stuck behind. And look at that. With that, Kevin Millard having to defend when Eric Neville of the Pax Oceani went through, and that's a position gained. So that's 2 lost for 499 Racing in just 2 laps. And even further back, you have Austin J. McGill, who was right there on the heels of Gio Gonzalez, and now has got 2 drivers, GT3 drivers ahead of him before he gets back into that spot.
Yeah, that's what we're going to start seeing, especially with these driver changes. I mean, just the skill differences between the drivers, and then also one of the other challenges too is that before everyone started pitting, they were more grouped up by classes on the grid, and now it's just with the different times that people are pitting, it is just a little bit all over the place of where the LMP 2 cars are and the GT3 cars. So you got traffic everywhere.
Not only traffic everywhere, but just, I mean, the sheer pace difference. Look at our leader there, Colin Arnold. 6/10 difference to Tyler Sage Anderson. But look how far he is to the driver in P13. That is the last LMP. Sorry, it is the last LMP2 driver on the grid, but the last one on the main lap. That is Ethan Orr of Anchor Racing. He's got a 1 minute and 11-second gap to Colin Arnold. So in about 20-something odd seconds, 19.5 seconds, he's going to be lapped. But there's other drivers still out there. You have Inca Salsa Margarita of Matt Strong out there. Hyperion Racing 8's out there. Hyperion Racing 6 is out there. The 499 Racing is down 3 laps right now, and Great Underdog Racing of Trevor Bonesteel is still in the pit lane. I'm so salty that my pit limiter didn't click. Oof.
Ooh. Speaking of pits.
I felt it actuate. And look at that. While I was talking about all those drivers, Brett Renfro and the Appalachian GT3 Punters, kind of ironic that their name is GT3 Punt. Oh, never mind. They're trying to punt GT3s. No, it's just clicked in my head. But look at that. Floyd Kerr already back with Gio Gonzalez. They are now separated by 1/10. What we saw previously. And it was Jeff Koffold who was battling it out. Oh, and is that going to be the move for the position? Not just yet, but Austin J. McGill now ahead of the Kevin Millard of 499 Racing. where is Matthew Wyckoff? And that's where Fark Moley, or the British Mexican, wants us to take a look at. Matthew Wyckoff. Prosciutto Punch Racing Indica. Ooh, he's just got 4 drivers all around him, and that's got to be so scary. Three LMP2s.
Yeah, that's got to be nerve-wracking, just seeing those cars just coming up on you like that and just in a pack, too.
Now, he's sitting P8 in the GT3 class. Mark. As you're saying, Garrett, look at the raw speed difference here. The teammates change, but they are all running roughly the same. We didn't get a look at it, but Floyd Kerr did get past Gio Gonzalez. And there's Eric Koonsman of Draft Punk Silver now going to insert himself into this 3-way battle. And they're going to have to stay, on the outside, just maneuvering through. Mr. Willie P. Is that William Priestley? Was that the guy?
Yeah. Arcadian Motorsports.
Okay, Arcade. Oh, yeah. Oh, and Jack Priestley. These 2 drivers. Possible relations. Not like relations, but like, the other kind. Family relations.
Family, yeah.
Yeah. Sounded way weirder. What were you saying?
I did notice that Elliot Burton is in 3rd now.
Is what?
He's in 3rd right now. So he just keeps on pushing forward.
Was he Oh yeah, he was behind Chris Lambeth and Justin Scott at one point. No, wait.
No, I'm getting my drivers confused.
Yeah, no, he was in 3rd. He came out in 3rd. They just haven't been able to catch up. He's got a 3.9 second gap to P2. But Tyler Sage Anderson is only 0.3 away from Colin Arnold.
Yeah.
And Colin, another driver who's not switched drivers, but isn't 499 Racing is his teammate here? Nick Ebby and Bradley Sexton. So he has 2 drivers registered, and neither one of them have been in the car yet. So I'm assuming he's only going to have one other teammate show up for this, because they're not definitely going to be able to do anything about that now. That second stint would have had to be with another driver. Now, am I wrong to assume that? By the way, isn't it that once we go through the actual season, you can't be a solo driver. You actually have to have teammates.
That would be correct.
Yeah. And look at that. Luke Wallace of Hyperion Racing 7 goes through before the bus stop and takes P1 from Samuel Otis of Cone Killer Racing, who also another driver who is not. Both these drivers have not swapped drivers on the second stint. And it looks like everything's going well. Does this have something in hand there, Garrett?
Yeah, it just seems like, these drivers, they're just kind of just picking and choosing their little battles and trying to gain positions. Seems like people are playing a little bit more safer is what it kind of looks like. It's always hard to gauge with the grid this far spread apart. But it doesn't seem as... Woo!
That was a little close on the braking. But yeah, it's really interesting to see that just their styles and their techniques of what they're doing changing a little bit, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with your assessment there. It looks like everyone's kind of playing it way more safe and strategic. No one's out there flat out pushing. Although, as I say that, Jack Priestley of Arcadian Motorsports is now 1/10 separated to Eric Koonsman, Draft Punk Silver. Is he going to get him in the braking zone? It looks like he's got him. And John Chavecki, yeah, thanks for the prime sub.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it seems like with some of these overtakes that we're seeing, it's done very cleanly.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything, with a lunge. Those ones that are happening on through the bus stop, it's clear that from our perspective, it doesn't look as clear, but they getting fully along, and ooh, that is an off track for Austin McGill, who's going to lose some time to Gio Gonzalez on that one.
We've seen a few people just kind of take that turn just a little too tight, and they just have to use the grass.
Yep, I'd agree. It's not too great, especially when you're looking at that there. This is Eddie Layton, but you see that grass formed on the track because people keep getting a little too close in the margins there. Although, have you seen any part of the track that looks really egregious with like some of the rubber being laid down?
A little bit here and there, yeah. I'm just starting to notice that on some of these turns, you're starting to really start seeing the rubber build up quite a bit.
Yeah, and where people are cutting and hitting that grass a little bit, it just seems like we're definitely notice a few people are going wide there on the exit and getting, I would say, too close for margin near the barriers. But there's that mark that I've noticed quite a bit last couple laps. As Chris Lambeth is ever so close to Uno Dos Tres. 3/10 away. With Matt Benson and Matthew Wyckoff in P9 and 8 and 9. Oh, they get past Matt Benson.
Yeah, those two have been on each other, or Chris has been on Justin's heels since they've been out of the pits. Ooh, and are we just starting to see a move?
Go too wide.
Oh, there we go.
Beautifully done, Chris Lambeth of the Bush's Baked Bean Durance. That was done quickly and on entry. Keeps it good. I would say keeps it well informed. Matthew Wyckoff very well to keep himself on that outside line as Chris Lambeth goes through, and now Justin Scott just losing a little bit of time there. He's 7/10, 8/10 back now on Chris Lambeth.
Yeah, it seems like these guys are really starting to find a rhythm now, and you can really just start seeing in their driving.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I have friends who, Jesus, the way I started that. I mean, I don't know about you. I have friends. No. So, a couple of my buddies in iRacing, when they do multi-class, or when they do endurance racing together, one of the drivers, and we have Tyler Sage and Colin Arnold going side by side, or they're battling for P1 at the moment. It looks like it's going to go to Tyler Sage Anderson. He gets him, as you stated previously, very clean moves that are happening before the bus stop there. But what I was trying to say is the driver who is not in the car at the moment ghost drives with his teammate and will drive around the track while the race is going so they can keep they can keep the memory, like the pattern memory down, so they know here's my flow. I'm practicing while this race is going on, and I'm technically racing against these cars right now. There's Parks de la Cruz who blinks out of existence there for these. That'd be scary to see a little bit, but he's doing just fine. Care Bear, no friends confirmed. Oh my god. But I think what I was trying to say is I think it's if maybe some of these drivers are doing that, it does lend itself to you're going to have a better flow when you do jump into the car. And I know with my buddies, that has helped them. Ghost driving, being able to be on track. You're technically, just practicing, but the cars are still there. They just don't see you. And I think it kind of helps, and maybe some of these drivers are doing that. Chris Lambert, I'm not sure how much practice he's put in. Maybe he was doing it while his teammate was driving. He's definitely found a rhythm.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that's a great point and great strategy because, the name of the game is consistency and just being able to consistently put out great laps. And I believe Chris is starting to really hold his own. And I think he was doing some practice before this session went live just to try and squeeze in a little bit additional practice time before this all got started tonight.
Yeah, I would agree. That would make the most sense here. And, looking at it right now, we have, going back over, Colin Arnold is not out of the contention just yet. He's now 1/10 away from Tyler Anderson.
Colin just still following him close. Just wants to keep the pressure on.
And it's just nice to see these cockpit views of the LMP2. It's got a nice frame.
Yeah, these cars are gorgeous inside and out, that's for sure.
Garrett, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but not a lot of overtakes into turn one. I think I've recalled maybe 3.
Yeah, I think you're actually completely on point with that. Since you brought that to my attention, a lot of it's just been at that bus stop. It seems to be where a lot of the action is happening for overtaking and just trying to get that little advantage.
Yeah, it's just down to that. And talking about that a little bit, that's always shaky. What we're looking at is the LMP2 Pro class, which is P1 through P8, all in the Pro standings. Then you have Eric Koonsman of Draft Punk Silver in the Gentleman's Cup for the LMP2 class, and he's leading over the East Coast Storm Racers, Anchor Racing, Inca Salsa Racing, Inca Salsa Margarita, and Submarine Motorsports. So as far as P1 finishers go, as long as Draft Punk Silver can keep it ahead of Peter Petrucci, who is looking at this a 10.9 seconds back at the moment. Now going in further down the roster there, we have the GT3 Gentleman's Cup of V and Ray Get Out of the Way, and this is Lars Tehouse. And he's not in the lead there. East Coast Storm Racer GT3 of Jaming Jen and Blake Patterson are just ahead of him. But there's a couple other drivers that are in this that can be a part of that. We have New Pack Racing, who's dropped out. Penguin Racing Black is not out there on track. R3 Logistics is not there as well. And Timberline is also not there. So right now, it's going to go to Jamie Jen if he can keep it together. And look at that. He's got some... Is that part of the car on this McLaren, that deformation on the front? Or is his hood kind of messed up.
Man, that is hard. Oh no, that looks like damage.
It looks like damage. I'm gonna go to a different angle. Yeah, it looks like he's got a little bit of damage on that front end, but as long as he can keep it out there, he's got a 1 second gap to the driver behind him, which is for P1 in the GT3 Gentleman's Cup. So he's got to watch out for that. And he's already now 4/10 away, 3/10. This is a battle to make the case for the 93 pit entry line. The rules say the driver should stay to the inside. It does not say we must stay to the inside, meaning that it is an advisory, not a directive. I'm not a lawyer, so but hey, this is something. Luke Wallace. Talk about the GT3 Gentleman's Cup. Luke Wallace in that orange accent on that car. He is now. Oh, show!
Oh, he took a little bite of that dirt. Yeah.
He lost it all on his own, and I was. You hate to see it, but Lars now just inherited P1 for the V-Ray. Get out of the way. It is a pre-race. It's just a pre-race round, so it's not going to matter in the championship just yet. But yikes, you don't want to see that. Luke Wallace, who just has lapped the those GT3 cars. Now he's really showing his own form here with Hyperion Racing 7. Samuel Otis in P2, 5.5 seconds back. This is for the GT3 Pro standings, and looks like it might go to Hyperion Racing 7. I think they just dished out those 5 teams across both classes to really maximize the Hyperion Racing's chances of getting a championship here. I don't know about, what do you think there, Garreth?
Yeah. I think you're right on that. One of the interesting things I was looking at, Jay was mentioning towards the beginning that he had a power flash and immediately was lapped down and will have to take an extra stop because of that. So that's why the anchor team is down. I was just trying to see what position they were in.
Oh, yeah. Joshua or Abbott Salazar said that.
Yep.
And then further, Mr. Willie P says, the only directive given is that if an incident is caused, then it is our fault. But if no incident is caused, then it's, hey, that's a strong lawyer response there. I would have. you know, 499 Racing of Todd Swanson. I'm trying to think of where this guy. This is a pro class team.
Yes, they are.
Oh yeah, Christopher Horton already went out, so he's behind. He's got he's 3 laps down, so he had an incident that occurred. That's unfortunate for him. That's why he's down on Jaming Jen. You can just say Jason Jen as well. I think he goes by Jason as well. If I can't, I mean, I think I've nailed his name, but sometimes I mistake it. He's in the GT3 series as well. Eddie Layton has crawled back a couple positions. He's in P25 now. Inca Salsa Racing Margarita, Matt Strong is out there on track 2, as well as Sam Shreves of Hyperion Racing 8, also still out there on track trying to regain some ground. I think they'll get past the GT3s by the end of it. Maybe. We are on lap 42 of 77. They're 11 laps down, both these drivers. Hyperion Racing 6 is 5 laps down. And technically speaking, Luke Wallace is 4 laps down from the lead of the LMP 2 class. So there's still some chance for those drivers that are, back there in the LMP2 class.
Yeah, I'm glad that they decided not to retire and just continue pushing forward. But yeah, with us being a little halfway, a little bit past halfway now with the drive time, we still have a lot of time to go for anything that could happen, especially with the grid, how mixed up it is between the GT3s and the LP2s.
Absolutely. And just hopping over to see what is exciting here on this race is the gaps have formed and no one is within a second of each other in this race. Now it is down to just the scary nature of racing in multi-class, where you might be feeling the, I don't know, not 100% lap after lap. I don't know about you, but endurance racing, I've only done it a couple times, and each time I've done it, I've just been on the edge. Or I've crashed out. The first one I ever did, it was here at Watkins Glen, and I crashed out on the first lap. Through the bus stop, just smashed the wall, and by no fault of my own, just my own making on that one. It was pretty rough.
Yeah, and especially with how long these races are. I mean, it is mentally taxing. I've done our league has hosted I remember doing a GT3 endurance race with rain on Sebring, and with rain thrown in there, it was spicy. I know I crashed out a few times on that one just because it's a hard track, and especially that throwing rain in there.
Yeah, it's very nerve-wracking, especially with how some of these drivers have been weaving through middle parts of the GT3s. But look at that, Tyler's getting past another LMP2 class driver as well as a GT3. So if,
yeah, he's making great moves.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's down to what? That's Jeff Lubitsch and P12, the LMP2 he just passed. So now he's got, like, how close is he to the next driver? Can't even tell. It says a minute and 19, but it's really going to be like, what, 20 seconds? We can't see it here on the relative just yet, but I think it's going to be like 19 seconds away from the next driver he's going to pick off. Now, where do you think the leaders of this race are going to be at fully? Do you think they're going to get to P8, P7? I don't think they're going to get all the way across. They're definitely not going to get to Pax Oceani or Brandon Renfro in P7, but they might actually pick off P8, he's 53 seconds behind. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they kind of have their own race going on even back there, which is great to see. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they eventually end up in the next little less than 50 minutes now.
Yeah, and that's got to be so scary. Parks de la Cruz is blinking in that 212 racing, and he's not even really having there's no one he's fighting right there on that part of the track. It's just trying to get by these guys, and if they're blinking, you just hope that they're going to be offline which he was.
Yeah, he was doing a great job, and yeah, that totally throws an extra complex that is into iRacing. If someone's internet connection isn't quite stable or whatever the situation may be. But I mean, he's still making ground and still getting ahead of Colin more and more. I mean, he just passed 5 seconds now.
Yeah, 4.5. I mean, now just getting past Sam Lee Otis, which is in P2 in the GT3 series. Oh, what the? Oh, Brandon
Something happened with
Renfro
Brandon.
has been... Okay, he's still got it here. He's in the bus stop. Ooh. Oh, he... Way too much. Way too much. Yeah.
Ooh.
Hit all the curbs there. He's P8 right now, but there's a Draft Punk Silver coming up right behind him.
That bus stop is nasty. I mean, we're just nonstop seeing guys just catching a little bit of air, getting the tire lifted off. And, I mean, that's where it seems to be like the most action is happening for sure.
Yeah, and there he goes into the pit lane. It's unfortunate for the Appalachian GT3 punters. They didn't punt any GT3s that we saw, but they got themselves. That's going to be a long repair. You can see that front end is going to be quite something else to fix. Oh, and look at that. No, there's only a few drivers that are within a second of each other right now. And one of them, look at that beam. I'm going to click this back slightly. Look at his pass on the outside here. Look how close he is.
Man.
Just gets by. Chris Lambeth after the carousel. Yeah, that was what a very, very close call. Garreth, I mean, thoughts?
Yes. that was extremely close. It just looked like Chris was just getting baited with his space a little bit there. And one thing that I don't think we've mentioned is that with this series, there is no fast repairs. Where the GT3s, they are fast repair, but this series there is not.
That is, yeah, gonna be really unfortunate because, I mean, endurance race. Ooh, look at that. He got squirrely on the exit. Now he's got Justin Scott trying to pass by both of these drivers. And another thing to make nerve-wracking is not only is the driver ahead of you blinking, and John Javecki is hopped into the car now for Pax Oceani, and Kyle Bastos gets a position there. Oh, Colin Arnold's also going in the pits. Maybe this is the time we finally see the... Wait, this would be the last stint.
It looks like you are correct, and we'll probably start seeing quite a few people start coming in for pits and possible driver changes.
Not only that, Jack's stay is not quite there to determine whether he's going to stay out. And this is it. We get Nick Ebby. We'll get to see what Nick Ebby can fare out there on track. He is P2 before the pit stop. Elliot Burton is now P2, but he's going to have to go into the pits. Is he going to give it back to Peter Flanner? It'll be interesting to see how some of these drivers contend with that, whether or not it's just going to go too long. And got a minute and 2, 3. Okay, so he's got out with a minute and 5 in the pit stop. We're seeing 104s. It's not going to be the fastest one, but he's got to go to the end with this. Draft Punk Silver is not gone in the pit lane just yet. Chris Lambeth back out, so it looks like Jacob Simmons is only doing the one stint. Kyle Bastos is not gone in the pit lane, so this isn't for... Well, this is for position. I mean, it's got to be rough if you're Chris Lambeth. You don't want to... you know, be too aggressive with this, but at the same time, you're behind a guy who's got to go into the pit lane, and it's just going to hold you up. And now we have Justin Scott going in the pit lane. So I think we're going to get Justin Scott. He's going to catch him, but where are the rest? Tyler on a stint of 24. Elliott Burton on a stint of 23. It's definitely going to pass Jack right there. What are your thoughts, Garrett? Is this going to work out well in hand for Nick Ebby? He's got a free track ahead of him.
Yeah, I think that's going to work out great, especially just having a free track in front of him. I mean, that's a lot less that he has to worry about, and he can just focus on just getting those times.
Yeah, and Chris Lambeth is finally allowed to go by as that other driver's gone in the pit lane. And so now he's just got to worry about Uno Dos Tres Racing of Rodrigo Theory, who gets out behind him. That was already kind of set in stone there. And Pax Oceani gets out there as well. And Elliott Burton takes P1 again, but he is sitting in the pit lane. Tyler Anderson is now in the pit lane. What's going to be the most concerning for him is this driver here. Is he a minute away from him? He had, what, a 5-second gap? So he's got about 18 seconds to go. Oh, and Dylan Maroney, sorry, Craig Brick and Dylan Maroney are actually battling it out for position right there. And it looks like Dylan Maroney is still in the pit lane for 20 seconds. Oh, no.
Wonder if he had some damage.
Yeah, it might look like that. Because there's Submarine Motorsports who could possibly beat him as he passes Craig Brick of Inca Salsa Racing. So move down for him. Nick Ebby is still in P3 as, yeah, that wasn't even a shot. One driver's in the bus stop and the other is coming up onto the straight there. So Tyler has a 10-second gap to P3. And he's in P2. That's going to be a rough one. Elliott Burton finally going in the pit lane. The gap is 43 seconds. Right now.
So Tyler will catch up and then recommand the lead.
Not only a commanding lead, but even more so than that. Are we... Draftpunk Silver is out there on track now, but is no longer in P1. Peter Petrucci is P1 in the LMP2 Gentleman's Cup. Anchor Racing is right behind him. Inca Salsa Racing is right behind him. Craig Brick is 2/10. This is the battle for the Gentleman's Cup here, these two drivers. And they're separated by only 2/10.
One of the things I think I briefly noticed was with when Dylan came back out, pit time was 1:45, so that was much longer than.
Yeah, he must have had something happen there. Peter Flanders back out, and there's Nick Ebby who retakes P1, and he's got a 3.6 second gap to Peter Flanner. So Peter Flanner retaking it, Elliott Burton only doing the one stint, and. Who has Tyler Anderson been racing this by himself?
Ooh.
Cooper McCoy is his teammate. And
yeah, I haven't seen Cooper.
Cooper hasn't been in, so this will not fly for the season itself, but right now it's fine because this is just a preseason kind of test. Make sure it's going to work out any kinks that might have occur during the race. But yeah, that's it looks like the battle for the LMP2 Gentleman's Cup is well in hand. It's still got some way. We still got a ways to go. But this is It's pretty exciting for these two drivers. Unfortunate for Dylan Maroney, who's sitting further back. As Eddie Layton now into P19, he's got just 5 drivers ahead of him that he's going to have to pass, the GT3s. And he's on the same lap as them, so this should be on him. The 212 is blinking is impossible. Yeah, the 212 has been blinking the entire race. And, you know, I think Parks De La Cruz... Has it been him the entire time as well? I think so. No, Tyler Kokeko did the first stint and wasn't blinking as much, I don't think. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, it's always kind of a hard thing since with dealing with all the extra peen issues and people, which is awesome though, but people around the globe all connecting to this, there is going to be connection issues here and there.
Absolutely. And there's the Inca Salsa Racing of Craig Brick, who just gets past Peter Petrucci for P1 in the Gentleman's Cup. And we know Tyler Sage Anderson has a 10-second commanding lead over P2 in the Pro Class LMP2s. And there's Tyler Anderson right there in the rear of the Submarine Motorsports driver. And they are in P8 and 9, so Tyler Anderson's going to get all the way up to possibly Arcadian Motorsports of Ryan Hammond. Hamm. Now, Garrett, we've seen the what are the blue flag scenarios in this series? Because in the GT3 Sprint, it's a very much a mandatory thing now that they've created it. But is that as well here? And I don't know. Tyler Anderson hasn't been given the open window to go by. He does get by, but I don't really think that was the driver lifting to allow him by.
Yeah, I think you're completely correct, and it should be just the same blue flag rules that we have across all of our series. But yeah, it just didn't seem like he was wanting to let him through.
Yeah, I think he could have been done on the straight, but I guess he's going to have to catch this guy. I mean, he's 4/10 ahead of him, so he's really going to have to push and find that spot, especially before the GT3 traffic.
Yeah, this could become pretty difficult here.
It also gets spicy, especially with the Inca Salsa there. They're going to get back to the 499 Racing of Kevin Millard, as well as CW Pair. And even the Submarine Motorsports driver want to get by these two. Finding those wide lines. Oof. Getting pretty close. Now we know Luke Wallace of Hyperion Racing 7 is in P1 right now, and he's actually got Hyperion Racing 6 behind him in an LMP2. He's got a little bit of ways to go before he can catch him, but that will be the pass. And I think he was Stone Beal for the follow. But then you have P2 in that as well as Floyd Kerr and Hyperion Racing 10. But where are we at with the other drivers? Is it going to be for the GT3 Gentleman's Cup? We talked about the pros. We talked about the LMP2 Gentleman's Cup. We've talked about the GT3 pros. But this Gentleman's Cup is got 6 teams. I think CW Pair is leading it right now, right? I mean, yeah, he's got Inca. Yeah. He's got the East Coast Storm Racers. Timberline have pulled out. New Pack is pulled out. Hyperion Racing 9, which is actually a pro team, they're out. We've had 5 retirements from this race. Most of them happening pretty early on, to be fair. So this will be the P1 winner, more than likely, if he keeps it together like this. Here's that 2-1-2. And Eddie Layton has finally passed P1 of the GT3 drivers. And now goes to 14th in the class position. Now how close is he? He's a lap down from Tyler Tier, who is actually just ahead of him. He's gonna have to pass him and then continue to stay ahead of him. But he did get his car fixed. There's that.
Yeah. Looks like he spent a little over 7 minutes in the pit.
Yeah, it's rough. You have Jeff Koffold of mixed nationality going against Ash Ridge. Always confusing when there's an oof.
Oh,
A tandem slide and almost a pirouette and trying to yikes. Oh, yeah, no. What can you do? He's really, I mean, there's not, I mean, he's, I mean, I guess that people go wide there all the time, but that is unfortunate for SRTE Orange. And their car might be a little bunged up. Go onto a cockpit view. Yeah, he's bringing it in. That's unfortunate. The driver is having a really good race. Or, sorry, the team was having a really good race. It looked like they just came together and kind of did that, you know, iRacing tandem spin GT3 class cars like to do when they go bumper to rear end.
yeah, that was very unfortunate, and especially just where he got kind of put, and then he was just trying to whip it around and get back in, but there's other traffic coming in hot, and it just caused an issue.
Yeah, I'm surprised the other driver, Jeff Koffold, was able to get by, and it wasn't an issue, as Dylan Maroney and Jeff Lubitsch are battling for position P11 on the line. Ooh. And it looks like they came together. Is that a slight bump?
That's what it looked like.
Well, the move goes to Dylan Maroney here. He's going to hold on to P11. He's got Ethan Orr and Peter Petrucci ahead of him, so only going to be able to take P3.
Some more blinking going on.
Yeah, that's the 212 of Parks de la Cruz. Cone Killer Racing was in the lead initially with their first driver, Samuel Otis. It looked like they got Ryan Otis into the car, and now the Matthew Morhart is the third final driver. We haven't actually seen a lot of this. Oh, is this also part of the time where Mark Foley has jumped in the car, or are they out? Because he was in chat. He's not talkative anymore. This is a battle for position, folks. Parks de la Cruz is in P3. Matthew Morhart is in P4. What's that? Prosciutto Punch Indica? Andrew Korostecki is in the car, and he's in P7. Matthew Wyckoff got into the car. So I guess the final stint went to Ange Korsecki and not Mark Moley. It's better to say it that way anyway.
Yeah, and we're about 27 and a half minutes left of this race. It'll be interesting to see if people want to change up their strategies a little bit. But whoa!
Holy! What a save!
That was an amazing save.
And he just ever so much tapped him.
Yeah, there's a little love tap there.
Yeah. That is, gotta feel not that bad, considering that was quite the move.
Yeah, it's still a little upsetting just because of the contact, but the way he saved that and pulled that off, that's amazing.
Undoubtedly, because Chris Lambeth is in the car, and that was the left front, which looks unscathed. Slight denting, a little bit on the left side. You see where it kind of indents?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It looks like he's unscathed with damage to that the arrow. It's quite something. And Christopher Chitterling, the Little Lugnuts, is taking us to the... oh, look at that. He's got the Pro-Am livery on his car. They are in the Pro. But that's the livery for his GT3 Sprint car. I'm sure they're going to work that out on the... when they do the first season race, you'd assume?
Yeah, they still got some time to work on their liveries, but I mean, still regardless, some of these guys that put the time and effort into their liveries, I mean, we got some creative gentlemen in this race, and just how well they can just put these liveries together.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite so far? I don't think any of them have really popped on me just yet. Oh, sorry. Sticking with this, Aaron Myers of Valhalla Motorsports is fighting for a position. P8, Chris Schierling ahead of him. Yeah, but Garrett, that's what I was saying. Do you have a...
There's a lot of what I refer to as almost classics that we have, kind of like with the Rough Punk Squad. Those guys kind of have their traditional... Bush's Baked Beans, those guys always have. I mean, we have a bunch of cool things that they just kind of tweak it just for depending on the series and what's going on. But nothing crazy has popped out. I mean, it's hard to always gauge and see because we see these liveries all the time, and if you step back for a moment, I mean, they do an amazing job on them. So they all do. I mean, they all pop a little bit, so which is always fun. It'll always be fun to see someone with fresh eyes just kind of take a look at it and kind of gauge what they think their favorite is.
I'd agree. I mean, I've been trying to just identify some of the liveries, but I guess what's most notable is previously the Little Lugnuts. Was that the livery this entire time? Because I don't think I've seen the Pro-Am pop. But I mean, is it the driver that gets in the car? Does it change the livery slightly? I thought it was.
It very well might, because I don't remember that kind of purple violet colors popping out like that.
Yeah, neither do I. And we did see Charles Whedon on track, so I don't think it was purple. But that was a close move for Aaron Myers into turn one. He just was too wide and didn't have the speed on exit to keep it ahead. But for a moment, he took P8. But now he's going to just have to try to reel him back in. He's got some traffic coming, so maybe that will help him out here. But while that's also going on, we have a driver just behind. Peter Flanner in the Draft Punk Gold. I do like that accent of the gold. It just... that... something different about that front end. Oh, look at, they're going 2x2. That's also Nick Ebby passing by. Deliveries are set per team, not driver. Oh, if that's the case, I did not see that earlier, that pink thing from Charles Whedon. The Pro-Am stuff. Here's Jeff Koffold fighting for position in 4P5 on Kevin Millard. Looks like he goes down the inside line. Does he get it in the bus stop? Yes, he does. Now, can he stick it on exit? He's got it ahead. There's P5 for mixed nationality. I don't really say what nationality either. Just mixed. It's the same Shreves in P15 who's still got quite a few drivers to pass before he's past the, speaking of livers, Peter Petrucci in the car 2114. LMP2 has a nice looking 4 Loco livery. It said 4 Loco before, but we've looked at this one. Is it just because of the color palette that it's a 4 Loco?
I was trying to find some of what they were trying to refer to, and I can't quite find that color scheme.
I'm a 4 Loco?
So I'm not too sure what they're referring to.
The issue seems to be the wrong livery was not loaded. Yeah, that's what I was assuming, because I did refresh before we went live, and Peter Petrucci was already in practice, so it's not me, Elliot. I'll put that bad juju on me. Hey, here's Peter Flanner, now 3/10 back on Nick Ebby. We're almost at 10 laps left to go. To hide, make sure to hide numbers checked. So it is loaded, or is it not loaded? And he just, okay, he might have hide numbers checked. Well, if it's loaded for you, well, it is a preseason round 0, guys. Any mistakes that occur in the stream will be rectified for the next one. Garreth, aren't you watching the race as well?
Yes.
Is it loaded for you?
Let me go look. It is not.
It has something to do with numbers that are 3 digits, I believe. There goes Peter Flanner down the inside line on Nick Ebby. Is he going to make the move down into turn 1? Yes, he does! And he gets through narrowly. Those front... Oh, no!
Oh.
He's got a driver of Jeff Koffold who blocks him. Not on purpose, but he loses his spot, and he's... Oh! Following the racing line. Being very predictable, but costly.
Yeah, that's real tough, and especially being caught there and just wasn't getting out of the way, and he was just stuck.
Not a whole lot you could have done there.
Not a whole lot at all. He's half a second back, though. I mean, that's truly one of those... what a rough go. Well, Jacksonville, I'll make sure that it's all corrected for the first season race, as well as some of these other liveries that have the correct schemes with their the Pro class differentiating from the AM class. Uno, dos, tres are done for. Oh, Rodrigo Theory is in the pit lane. Oh, maybe they're just going for a possible last fuel stop? You think that could be it?
Very well could be.
We got penalty stopping early.
Ooh.
A penalty. Oh, hey, there you go. Peter Flanner's now back ahead of Nick Ebby. Oh, so Rodrigo got a penalty for when he went into the pits. Well, it's just the preseason round 0. A win's still a win, but it's not counting towards the series. Hammer out any issues that occur. But that puts Arcadian... Wait, where... who are the... Inca Salsa Racing of Craig Brick? Oh, so we do have drivers going to the pit lane to get some fuel. So it looks like they did need fuel for 4 stints.
Yeah, if I recall, since it's being brought up and I'm remembering the fuel limits and what was selected. So the LMP2's fuel limit is 100%, which is approximately 18 laps. The GT3's is 67% for 17 laps, which is about 30 minutes. So yeah, they would have to do 4 different, have to pit in 3 times.
And so just on that last stint, the driver's going back in to get some fuel to top off for the end of the race. Yeah, we still could see some changes here. Inca Salsa Racing and Submarine Motorsports are not that far apart, and they are in for the AM class Gentleman's Cup. For the LMP2s. But does that mean we still have Tyler out there on stint of 17, Peter Flanner on what's going to be a stint of 16, Nick Ebby's on 18, so is this possibly, he's going out for another, he's staying out. Arcadian Motorsports is still out there on 17. Yeah, what about our GT3 leaders here? We have Luke Wallace, who's 15 laps on this stint. Sorry. Same with Floyd Kerr and Parks de la Cruz. Parks de la Cruz is actually on 17. Cone Killer Racing has 13 laps on this stint, and Mixed Nationality of Jeff Hoffeld has 15. And 499 Racing of Kevin Millard also on 13. Prosciutto Punch Racing Indica of Andrew Korstecki on 14. Christopher Tritting of Little Lugnuts on 13. Looks like this Valhalla Aaron Myers went into the pits he's going to have enough for the end of the race, but it looks like he's kind of playing it safe there for the GT3 class. Only driver to do so, besides Todd Swanson. He's 2 lap old on these. Did a 44.1. John Javecki getting past Jacob Simmons, who's going into the pits. Now he's got to worry about Uno, Dos, Tres. And Garreth, is it the same lap time for just a splash and dash? Is that what have you noticed that?
I've been trying to keep track of these times that we got going on right now. And one of the side commentary that I was hearing was that swapping drivers actually takes a little bit of time to do. So the less that you're doing that, you're gaining a lot of time from it.
Well, it looks like it. Yeah, Pax Oceani of John Javecki. He's up into P5, and at best, Jacob Simmons can get 6 positions, maybe, off of his pit stop. He's got a driver who hasn't pit ahead of him. Same with another driver who hasn't pit. But he doesn't have clean air. They pit in traffic each time, which is kind of unfortunate for his for the strategy he's going for. Going for that undercut on some of these other drivers. Not look like it's going to work out for him. Uno, dos, no, what were you going to say?
Yeah, there's so many variables when just trying to figure out the strategy, and you might think that you have one thing figured out, but there's just so many variables that you just didn't think about either with traffic or just what the other drivers are doing. It's difficult to gauge what the right strategy is.
Yeah, I'd agree. And pigging back off that, it's just because you don't know where these GT3 drivers are at, and you don't know where the drivers that are even in your same class are at, and some of them, they don't have to give you any space here. Like, look at that. Blake Patterson being extremely friendly to get out completely out of the way, but he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
And there's Dylan Maroney. He's got to go into the pit lane, but he still hasn't done that yet, and he's keeping it ahead of Jacob Simmons. Now, that's a 44.5. So that 105, 104s that we were seeing, that was a driver swap plus possibly tires. I know you could take half your tires and not lose any time when fueling. So that could be part of the strategy as well.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that these drivers might be just taking only 2 tires and not taking a full set if they're not wearing all the same.
Yeah, the wear and tear, I would assume it's going to be partially on the lefts. I could be completely wrong on that. Forget exactly what's more hard on this track, but I thought it was be more the rights. It's only like a 3-gallon splash. Ah, see there. There we go. We got someone telling us the truth. Now, Tyler Sage Anderson has a 19-second lead over Peter Flanner. That's a big gap. Peter Flanner still not in the pits. Nick Ebby still not in the pits. Ryan Haman in P4 also not in the pits. But John Javecki's right behind that driver. You see how close that is?
Yeah.
It's a 1.6. I don't know specifically how far back he is to P3, though. It would be fair to say that I think he's been passed as well, so he's not even on the opening on the main lap anymore. There's only 3 drivers on the main lap at this moment in time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see once this season goes fully live with everyone having all their additional drivers, and with that possible time addition that gets added on when swapping drivers. Because, I mean, we could have been a completely different story between Tyler and Peter right now.
I mean, exactly. We know for a fact that he does have teammates, and he has not opted to use his teammate of Cooper McCoy. So that would definitely be the difference. And Cooper McCoy is a strong driver, but, you know, he's three different drivers. Their pace difference could be massive. We've noticed a few of these teams have the same actual pace, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, for these guys just kind of self-pairing up with each other, I mean, with their skill levels and stuff, it seems like they did a great job to just be like picking teammates that are close in skill and close in times. There's a lot less rubber banding effect going on, which is very interesting to see.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. With that, with the rubber band. Also, the first stint really showed how close the pace was with the first set of drivers, but then right after that, we've been just seeing a wide open field, and only a few can keep up. There goes Ryan Hamm to let him by, knowing it's not really in his race to keep up with this guy. He hasn't pit, and he's on 22 laps on that stint. We haven't seen any of the top three go into the pit lane just yet, including that driver that went over to the side, and Craig Brick of Inca Salsa Racing.
And we're just coming up here on 5 minutes and 30 seconds left of the race.
Is it quite possible? I mean, you said it yourself. It was 18 laps. They could be completely done, but then why did we have so many drivers going to the pit lane? You think some of them were able to fuel save enough to the end, and that's what we're going to see with these last couple of laps, or is it just out of the question?
Yeah, I mean, could have been a combination of fuel saving and just catching other people's draft and just kind of open being easy on the corners. So that could have been playing, especially with an endurance race when you have this many laps. Fuel saving becomes a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess it's possible, but also Nick Ebby went into the pit lane, so he's out and he's still in third. He's got Peter Flanner and Tyler Anderson who have not gone in the pit lane just yet, so they might do that last splash with a couple laps left to go. I think they're in a comfortable spot to do so. John Javecki, who's now on 7 lap old from his splash and dash, he did a 46.7. Nick Ebby did a 37.7 in terms of pits. Yeah, so the stop is significantly different. I think the overcut is the way to go, because less fuel, less time spent in, and it didn't help him at all because John Javecki is down what is technically a lap, but he's in sector 3, and Nick Ebby is down on this into turn 2 in the S's. So yeah, big difference. The LMP2s are doing 25 laps, and GT2, I mean GT3, 22 to 23 laps on a tank. Yeah, those GT2 cars are
right. We've been throwing numbers out all day.
So, Garreth, as far as a preseason test has gone, we've only had 7 teams out. That seems pretty good.
Yeah, I think overall, at least from our perspective and what we're seeing, it seems to be I mean, there's only been a handful of some gnarly accidents, but overall, with the different sets of rules that we have, especially with like qualifying and then racing and everything, I mean, these guys have been doing great, and it seems like it's been overall pretty smooth. There's always room for a little tweaking here and there, but overall, I think it's been going on really good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree. We also didn't really see any like multi-class accidents. What we did see was some racing incidents that occurred. One here in the boot where they touched someone else and they flew into the wall. And then, that pirouette with the two GT3s. Like, it's been class on class violence, but not so much multi-class violence.
Yeah. No, which is great to see, and especially, I mean, the fact that multi-class adds just a whole level of complexity into it, and these guys have been doing great.
Yeah, I mean, even going back as far as that one incident that did occur, that we did see out of a heel, they were just in that corner, and you can run wide in the GT3, in the LMP2, GTP, whatever car you're in, you could always run that corner wide, but everyone kind of saw that there was an accident that occurred, and so they were all keeping their corner really tight, and that just goes to show you the difference there. As Tyler Anderson gets back out on track, he's got Peter Flanner in the pit lane, and nothing to really worry about as he has uno dos tres, but they are actually gonna be a lap down here. Wow, he's gotten that far ahead, by the way. So they're P6, and P1 is right behind them. That's got to be a lot difficult to handle there. It's Peter Flanders out. Nick Ebby nowhere near Peter Flanders. Oh, no, sorry, I spoke too soon. Yeah. In the bus stop. And up into... Oh, so he sees him in the... He's there in the front, just kind of... What? 15 seconds back? Yeah, our 40-second penalty was Payne. Oh, Garrett, that's what that was for that team. 40 seconds, that would put you, yeah, definitely already a lap down and then 2 laps down. But there's still, in 6th, Inca Salsa is our 20-second driver swap. Our 20-second driver stop was Payne. Is that like a 20-second penalty? Is that what you'd assume they're talking about?
Yeah. I believe so.
It's just something notable to point out there is while we're still on the final lap, Hyperion Racing 7 of Sam Shreves hasn't been able to recover as many laps as he was hoping for, but the other Hyperion Racing 6 has. Tyler Sage Anderson has just a couple more corners to go. Someone forgot how iRacing works. Driver swap was longer than our pit time, so we sat for that, then got a 20-second stop and hold for speeding in pit.
Oh, no.
Yikes. Just ahead, Inca Salsa Racing loses a position to the Uno Dos Tres. But if I recall, Inca Salsa Racing is going to be winning the LMP2 Gentleman's Cup, which is the AM class. Funny enough, if Tyler Sage Anderson does not pass this driver ahead of him, he's going to have to go a whole extra lap. So good luck to Rodrigo Theory, who is actually going to get to go again. That is it for the Dissidents. Serving as a solo driver, Tyler Sage Anderson passing P1 there. And what happened to Peter Flanner? Well, Nick Ebby is now going to inherit P2. Maybe it was his pit stop. Just he got undercut. There's Nick Ebby, 499 Racing in P2, and Peter Flanner going to be finishing this in P3. I'm kind of slightly confused. John Javecki is driving kind of slow. Uno Dos Tres has passed him, and that's P4 for Uno Dos Tres Racing. And John Javecki has to go, so he can't finish this just yet. Drivers who have finished the race, Arcadian Motorsports in P6. Does it look like he's going awfully slow there?
Yeah.
Does he not have enough fuel for the end?
Ooh, that's a great point. He might be sputtering.
That could be the reason. He thought he was going to have to finish a lap before. Bush's Big Endurance Racing goes to P7. Submarine Motorsports in P8. They finish, I think, ahead of everyone else. They are actually the LMP2 AM class winners. We have Floyd Kerr. Who's Floyd Kerr, Luke Wallace. Which one are they? Floyd Kerr and Luke Wallace, and possibly this driver, F. I'm not sure who F is, but congratulations, guys. You are the Hyperion Racing 10.
Racing 10, that's correct.
GT3 champions for the Pro Series. Congratulations on that win. Was it as hard as it looked? You had Cone Killer Racing, who was doing pretty well throughout that. Did you think you had their number after the first stint?
Not at first. I mean, it was quite a tough. Like, we didn't really start exactly where we wanted to, and they seemed pretty quick off the bat. But through driver transitions and pit strategies such as saving, it turned out the way it did.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations on that, and Luke Wallace, also part of the Hyperion Racing 7. You guys look like you're having a pretty good race. What ended up happening for you?
Yeah, as you noticed, it was only me driving, so yeah, my teammates really couldn't be there to help me tonight with the fuel strategy. So I just underfueled a little bit, had to come in and get a little bit of a splash for that last lap.
Gotcha. I mean, what a fantastic result for your teammates there, or Hyperion in general. Did you guys come into this battle with trying to dominate on team presence? Is that what's going on for this Le Mans series?
Absolutely.
Well, congratulations. We did have to say Hyperion Racing and then glance over at the numeral there for that. That was fun to do. Garreth, any questions for the GT3 Pro winners here?
Trying to think top of my head. What were your guys' kind of strategy with the pits?
Go for it, Turner.
Yeah, so I started the race just to kind of get through the chaos there, and then handed it over to Floyd to put in some flyer laps. Throughout the race there, I was just kind of keeping an eye on the fuel and noticed that we needed to save to try to go an extra lap or so there at the end, which ended up paying off. Otherwise, Luke had the ultimate pace tonight, and there was no way we were going to catch him. So strategy paid off in our favor.
Awesome. Oh, congratulations.
Absolutely. Were you guys able to take tires? Was that something that you were worried about throughout that race?
Oh,
Yeah,
for
we were
sure.
able to take tires at both stops, actually. We actually noticed that the driver change added a handful of seconds to our stop. So one driver change pretty much for every race going forward.
Sounds good. At least you guys have something going for the next for the season opener. Well, did you have any funkiness with your races between with all the driver or your two drivers being the swaps? Did anything happen between that? I know some other drivers reported, speeding in the pits, failing to change drivers quickly, and anything like that.
No, actually, my pit entry was a little quick. We were a little nervous that we were going to come in a little quick, but yeah, nothing major and no penalty, so all good on our end.
Well, congratulations for being the first team to join us in the interview room for this process for the Broken Wing Le Mans series, and congratulations on that opening win for the round 0. Doesn't count towards a season start, but at least you got some data to go through for when this first race happens. It was great to see you guys out there racing pretty strong. Your sister team in Hyperion was really giving that other team, the SRTE Orange team of Gio Gonzalez, a run for his money. You guys were battling it out for they were battling it out for a lot of that race. It was pretty good to see.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was.
Thank you guys for the broadcasting too.
Yeah, thank you guys so
Yeah,
much,
definitely
and
appreciate
hopefully
it.
we'll see you soon.
Yeah, sounds good. See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right, Garreth, I think that's it. I mean, it looks like a Dylan Maroney might have wanted to join us, or he did finish. They did finish the LMP2 Gentleman's Cup, and going over, everyone can see as I was scrolling through, we had all of our results set with a couple of the remainders in there, and those look like they're out of order, but the 18 and 19, 14, 15, 16, it is class dependent. So when you're looking at the leaderboard, it will go whatever position they have in their class, not on the overall. So it's not set to that. That being said, no one else has joined us in the cool down room. So Garreth, Hamm, has joined me for this stream. I'm Jason Alvarez, and everyone else that has been watching. Thank you for joining us, and we will be back next week, actually, for the season 1, round 1 opener, and we don't even know where it's going to be at. We're still waiting for the official series to be announced, and yeah, can't wait to see where we're going to be. And as always, join us for that, and also join us for the GT3 Sprint Championship that happens on Sundays.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time, and especially excited to really see this season kick off. And then, as always, the GT3s are a solid race to watch. So thank you, Jason. Appreciate it, and have a wonderful night.
Yep. Thanks, guys. And thank you, Gary, for joining me. And as always, have a good one.